Hello, Capricorn. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here, and a very safe and happy holidays to all of you. All right, Cap, so looking at your third week of December, you pulled Exchanging Gifts, Impartiality, and Replenish. This one's interesting because of the connection between these two, but the advice here seems to be don't be swayed one way or the other. Stay neutral in this situation. So, exchanging gifts, it talks about the law of giving and receiving, currency trade-offs, weighing cost, and determining value. But the protection message talks about, be careful what you ask for because you may get it. And looking at replenish, this is talking about the cost of what you are wanting and how it may have drained you. And there's a need to kind of like stay neutral. Don't allow yourself to swing one way or the other, or there may be, this depletion of energy. Because if you're talking about exchanging gifts and you finally getting what you have been wanting, is it worth the cost that you'll have to pay? So the protection message says, be careful what you pray for because you just might get it and then realize you don't want to face the hefty price tag that comes with it. It says you may find yourself in a situation that you've always desired, but you will have to walk away from or even fail at because you can't or won't pay the dues it asks of you. Now, the other beautiful part about this, though, is that what you are wanting is going to be coming in, but it's going to require some effort. And you may not be able to put in the effort toward that because your energy may be drained, and that could be by another situation. But this is asking you to stay neutral, and I think that is meant to help you conserve what kind of energy you may have left. It's almost like I've been dealing with so many difficult situations that I'm completely drained. You completely forget about the things that you have been wanting or praying for, and then they show up and you're like, yeah, but I'm really tired now. So replenish. It says it's not possible to be happy or at your best all the time. Having depleted energy or off days is a natural part of everyday life. However, it is how you manage these times when you are energetically low that is important. And it talks about how important it is to take care of your emotional well-being, just like you take care of your physical being, right? But something is coming in, right? So exchanging gifts, like literally it's finally getting that Christmas gift that you've always been wanting but have forgotten about because of life experience. And now it's showing up and you're like, oh, right, like I thought I'd feel different. Now, for some of you, if you're finally getting to a successful place in your life with whatever it is that you're going for, there's the reminder there to, stay neutral about whatever it is that you end up experiencing and not letting it drain all of your energy. But then there's the need there to also make sure that you have the energy to actually accept the gifts that are coming in. But for those of you who feel depleted, right, it reminds me of something that Abraham Hicks talks about, right? Like if you find yourself in that funk, go take a nap. Right? That's the quickest way to stop the momentum, right? You're overall the High Priestess. Okay, so in impartiality talks about observing and not really taking any action. And very much the High Priestess, it's passive. You're not required to do anything here. It's really about just paying attention and listening to what's happening around you. And the information that you are needing from that will be shown to you. It comes from within, right? It's trusting what your intuition is telling you about what you're experiencing. The other part of this is becoming aware of hidden information. You know, so secrets kind of come up with her too, but this I feel like is you gaining some information that you may not have been aware of, or there may have been a block to it. Oh boy. Speaking of information, the Page of Swords. Yeah, not a fan. So in the past here, you may have gotten some difficult information or difficult communication. You know, the Page of Swords, like I always say, is not the one you want visiting you, because it's only a part of the story, it's only half-truths, and it's requiring you to gather more information. This is hearing things indirectly. And it's not exactly the things that you want to hear, because it's creating difficulty. So if you were only getting like half the story, with the High Priestess being the overall, you're getting some insight as to what the full picture actually is. But again, it's coming from your intuition and you seeing clearly what is going on around you. In the present, the Eight of Pentacles. So this may be some difficult information that's coming through that may be affecting the work that you do, or affecting like how much effort you're putting into something. But you know, this is paying attention to the details and you know, really refining a skill here. And it may be because of, you know, half-truths, misinformation, you know, whatever the case may be with that Page of Swords, whatever kind of information that you have gained in the past, you know, it's lacking something. But it's like it almost pushes you into a place where you're really refining and honing in on your ability to intuit what is actually happening, what the truth actually is. But, you know, work, right? Putting in a lot of hard effort. So in future conditions, you have the past. So the Six of Cups. If you look back on the situation, I think that that's where, you know, there's more of an awareness or understanding of what's actually going on. But this is, you know, reflecting back on the past, back on, you know, emotional memories very specifically. And, you know, this may be you kind of like looking at how much effort you've been putting into something that, you know, wasn't exactly the full truth, if that makes sense. But then also looking back and realizing, oh, okay, like I see now why something wasn't being revealed to me. But, you know, here again, we're looking back at the past, and it's giving you some kind of insight regarding, you know, this like half-truth, half information, difficult information that may have affected your work or the effort that you have been putting into something. But again, it's like, it feels like it was meant to happen in such a way to kind of push you into honing in on your ability to, again, intuit what is actually going on. And this may be because the past is revisiting you, though, too. Your best path to follow, the Three of Wands. You know, with this, I feel like this is a needing to trust and know that what you have been waiting for is going to be showing up in your awareness. But this is like preparing, is what I feel like. Trusting what your intuition is telling you, especially if you're reflecting back on things and gaining more insight, right? Like, this is trusting that what you've been waiting for is going to finally show up. And again, right, kind of going back to exchanging gifts. But it's interesting. And I always look at the Three of Wands and think, you know, we're preparing for something to finally show up, even though there may not be any evidence of it. But regardless of whatever you were hearing in the past, again, with the Eight of Pentacles, we're still putting in the work. And it's like, just trust that what you are putting your effort into, it is going to show up the way that you expect it to. Because there's always this thing with the Three of Wands, right? You should already know what to expect here if you're waiting for something to come in, because you took action toward it. You know, but it's for further development and growth, you know, and then there's also the travel that happens here too. In your environment, the Tower. Okay, so, you know, again, kind of going back to this feeling of information coming through that is difficult, that may be preventing the work that you're doing or causing difficulties within that. It's almost like there is the potential for things to, you know, completely collapse. But I think that, you know, with the High Priestess looking at the Page of Swords and it coming down here, that this is an awareness and an understanding of why something may have been said, or why somebody may have, you know, done something where you're finding out about it with the Page of Swords and the High Priestess. It isn't what you want to hear. But it's like any beliefs that you had surrounding that, you know, it's getting rid of it. You know, again, it's the false foundation. It has to come down. You can't keep building on that, right? And there may be this realization that you've been building something up based on half-truths or false information. But the reflection back on it, I think, is showing you, you know, why. And it's really up to you on whether or not you allow it to affect what you're working on. Because it could go either way. It's like what you're working on can completely fall apart, which you've been spending all your time, your effort, paying attention to the detail, all that stuff, right? There's the potential for it to completely fall apart, or this could be something that, you know, drastically changes your experience. But I think that in that case, it's getting rid of the fake and the false and not letting it prevent something from coming in that you've been working toward, or that you want to see, right? But you're still having that like Tower moment going on. Now, for those of you who are experiencing sudden and drastic changes, you're not backing down. You're putting in the effort. You're doing the hard work that's necessary to get through that. But you're also doing it from a place where, you know, again, there's more understanding as to why this is happening. But because the Page of Swords is leading this off, it almost feels like it's intentional. Like dealing with somebody who's trying to get you to change your direction. But that's because they're looking for their own benefit, right? Because again, with the Page of Swords, you're talking about the communicator that purposely picks information to pit kings against each other. You know, somebody may be looking for some kind of information to use against you, though, too. And I say that because of the High Priestess being the overall, but you know, you've got this like drastic sudden shift that's happening in your environment, and all this hard work and effort that's still being, you know, put into something that you are wanting to show up in your life. The sun, your hopes and your fears, that's good to see. You're wanting new life. right? New energy. And again, replenishment. You know, it makes sense. It's hoping for an experience that brings you back. It like brings you back out of, you know, constantly putting in a lot of effort into situations that completely fall apart, but that's not due to you. That's due to, you know, other people acting in a way where they're only thinking about themselves. But this is perfect, right? Like new life, new experience, feeling rejuvenated, having that energy being returned to you, or having completely new energy, and not having to deal with, you know, the same things over and over again. You know, and I say that because of the Six of Cups, but then there's still this kind of like reflection back on the past and, oh, now I get it, now I see, kind of feeling that comes from that, right? So coming out the Four of Cups. Now, you know, immediately the feeling that I got from that is like, okay, I'm done. I have exhausted any emotional attachment to the past that I may have had. Now, you know, for some of you, right, the Four of Cups, there is the apathy that kind of goes on there, the self-loathing, right? And not seeing opportunities any differently than what you've already experienced. You know, you're still having that Ace of Cups being presented to you, but, you know, there's the question of how is this any different than what I've already experienced? But I don't know, because of the High Priestess, there very much is this feeling of, I have finally worn out all of the emotions that I have had connected to the past. Okay, the Page of Wands, that feels almost deceptive, right? With the Page of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, okay. And then the Three of Pentacles, right? So, you know, you may have wasted a lot of effort on something and it may have fallen apart, or that may be what you're experiencing right now. But the thing is you're still showing the Eight of Pentacles. If you understood why in a different way, like, would that stop you from continuing to put in the effort toward what you are expecting or what you are wanting to see? Like, I still feel like what you're expecting is still very much a possibility. And there's this message here of prepare for that, because it is coming in. But you may not see it because there's still this reflection on past emotions. But the thing is, you know, there's an awareness that's being gained here that I think that, you know, may have been blocked from you. But I don't know, there's something about this that just feels a little bit off, especially with the Four of Cups. And I think that for you, it's like, I'm not interested in hearing anything else about this situation, no matter how, you know, exciting it's being presented to you. With the Page of Wands here, the only thing that you're focused on is getting the communication that you need that will free up any kind of stagnation that's been put in place, right? But there's still this like falling apart here. And with the Five of Pentacles, it's almost like, you know, things really sounded good at one point, and I've put in all this effort, but you got nothing in return. Now, this could also be you, though, understanding that if you're feeling a sense of rejection, that it's time for you to move on from certain groups or certain people, right? It's not that you don't belong there. It's that you're meant for something more. You know, and again, that's coming in. It's like, be prepared for that. Where right now you may feel like, but yeah, I don't have shit. What are you talking about? You know, things are falling apart. I've been putting in all this effort, right? And there's the feeling of lack and sense of rejection, where at first it may have been like super exciting. But I also feel like because of the Four of Cups, right, you're just kind of like drained on all of that. But once, you know, those emotions are exhausted, If we're talking about new life, new experience, you know, replenishment here, and you hoping for this and preparing for something different, I feel like with the Three of Pentacles here, you know, you're working still, like you're still putting in the effort here, but you're changing your plans. But your reflection on the past, I feel like, has to be exhausted. You know, and unfortunately that makes sense. Like, you know, if you're dealing with a Tower moment and it feels like things are falling apart, but yet you've been putting in all of this hard work, and there's this sense of like wasted effort, it's like once you exhaust all of, you know, the emotions that have come with that, it's a new awareness that kind of comes in that changes your direction, where you're not, you know, lack focused anymore. You know, and I keep going back to this feeling with the Tower where it's like, but yeah, this wasn't the direction that was meant to bring you what you have been expecting or what you've been wanting. You know, it feels like new insight, but it's not a hangman type of thing where you have to be in a state of limbo or make any kind of sacrifices or anything like that. It's just new information that'll give you a different perspective in a way where, you know, you're trusting more of what you know, what you are seeing. But I still don't like that Page of Swords being what's coming through here and that kind of being the catalyst for this situation. So, you know, again, clarity and looking at the High Priestess, which is good. Honor yourself. I haven't seen that one in a while. And then trust. So, clarity will be shown to you, but the important thing is to honor yourself. Even if things feel like they may be falling apart, don't fall into, you know, lack mentality. You know, trust that what you are wanting is coming in. And I do very much feel like there's nothing for you to do right now but to gain different insight on your past experience and the emotions that you have had connected to that. And it's so unfortunate that that has to be that way, that you have to like exhaust those emotions. It's not needing to accept. I have to get to the point where I'm completely wore out and broken down before new life can be shown to you. But very important though for you to get out of any kind of like lack mentality, which may be really hard to do, and that's understandable. Especially if you're getting difficult information that's blocking your effort or blocking your work. Now, on the other hand, though, like I said, with the Tower here, it's like finally getting rid of all of the fake crap and continuing to put in hard work and effort into what you are wanting to show up in your life. You know, however that looks to you, whether it's, you know, emotional work, healing, things like that. Reaching your destination, your light is shining brightly. And then overcoming obstacles, you can overcome anything. But I feel like you need to hit the breaking point before you can experience the other half of that. But again, with the High Priestess being the overall, besides, you know, gaining hidden information or hidden knowledge, it really is passive energy. There is no action required. It's just trusting your intuition when it comes to, you know, what it's telling you as far as why you may be having, you know, these experiences that are so drastic. You know, that are affecting the effort that you're willing to put in. But I'm telling you, right? You may come out of this feeling very exhausted, very worn out, but a new life is getting ready to show up here. And there is nothing required of you. You know, just be careful about how much reflection you're doing on the past. It's about detaching from any kind of, you know, difficult emotion or disappointment or lack that you may have experienced. That, I feel like, it's like it has to be that way in order for all of this to finally appear. But reaching your destination, this is where, you know, trust needs to come in. But you also need to make sure that, you know, as far as honoring yourself, that you're no longer wasting your time and effort on situations that aren't going to work out, if that makes sense. Just know that you are going to overcome this, and it's time to start preparing for what you've been expecting to finally come in.